Today we are going over the truth about autoflowers and why a lot of hate comes from outdated information. Come on, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Grow Lab. If you want to connect with the best growers from all over the world, get tips and tricks on how to grow the dankest plants possible, and not have to worry about the censorship we get from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, go check out realgrowlab.com. Get all kinds of great Grow Talk Q&A. Plus, see all the stuff YouTube won't let me show you in these videos. Sign up and join our growing community over at realgrowlab.com. Or download the app at the Apple or Android App Store. Now let's get back to today's video. Come on, Hassie, you want to grow some autoflowers?
I'm not totally sold on autoflowers yet. I've heard a lot of bad things about them. Let's talk about, maybe you can dispel some of the myths today.
I absolutely can. A friend of mine, Cortez the Conqueror, is a great autoflower grower. So I just started with some autos. I'm more of a clone guy myself, but I was shamed into planting some autos. I've been talking about it for probably years at this point. So I've been into this lately. That's why I figured it'd be cool to talk about.
Okay, so my first objection to autoflowers is I've always heard that they don't produce as high quality cannabis as photoperiod plants.
Yes, I would agree with that. That's not a myth. You've got photoperiod plants that are, 35%, or fudging the numbers, 40% THC. Autoflowers go right around 20%. You can get an autoflower to go 20%, which is plenty of THC. I was excited to smoke 18% weed back in the day. It got me high.
Okay, so where does this come from? And it seems like I was expecting like 5%.
Man, that myth comes from a long time ago when autoflowers came from a photoperiod, Cannabis sativa, Cannabis indica, being bred with another species, Cannabis ruderalis. Cannabis ruderalis is a kind of ditchweed, basically, that it grows. It doesn't have anything to do with the photoperiod. You don't need the 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness. This just grows and flowers according to age and according to stress. So it's way different. I don't think they had any THC or CBD back in the day. So they're starting with something from zero, and then they're taking, a really good photoperiod plant. They're mixing them together. They're crossing them. I wouldn't think that it's going to have, you're trying to get the best traits out of the photoperiod plant while keeping the autoflower trait. And so it's not as easy as just taking two great photoperiod plants and blending them together and going, hey, I'm a breeder. Look what I got. It takes a lot of skill to do this.
So in the beginning, I'm assuming their really low quality was a lot more legitimate, but they've been able to breed some of that out now?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll shout out to Night Owl, my friend Daz over at Night Owl Genetics, Nick over at Fast Buds. Those guys have a really good reputation for good autoflowers, and it takes a lot of work. Hey, real quick, the reason why autos are so much harder to breed, or also another reason, is you only have one generation of these things before they die. So you can't tell. If I work with a plant or somebody works with a plant, Cherry Paloma, they might work with it for 6 or 8 years. They totally know how this thing responds. They know how it responds to stress, different lighting conditions. With autoflowers, it is, by definition, it lives for 90 days. So it is a crapshoot. There's a ton of phenos out there. That's different expressions. And I was talking to my buddy Cortez, and he says to me, he'll plant, I think he said he planted 13 autos, and he's going to keep 8 of them because some of them are stronger, some of them are weaker. And actually he says that he does, what did he call it? Controlled stress is what he said, to try to figure out which ones are the winners. Because out of those 13, you've got some phenos that were late to pop, and they don't like the more light. They're not going to be able to handle the stress of growing. So he culls those.
Oh, okay. That kind of brings up my second objection.
Yeah.
The 90 days. I make mistakes sometimes in veg, and I have to let them veg a little bit longer.
Yep.
you can't do that with Autoflowers. They're going to flip when they want to flip.
They are on a countdown. Yes, absolutely. And they want to flip at, what are they, 90? I'm sorry, they only last about 90 to 100 days. So they will flip on their own. So the trick on them is trying to keep them as stress-free as possible, to keep that veg going for as long as possible. So as soon as they stress out, that will get them to flip the flower. So even some minor stress, something like defoliation, you don't want to do that too early, because something as small as that can trigger the plant to flower. So you want to baby these things. You've got to keep everything going right.
So they're going to flip when they want to flip.
Yeah.
And I don't have the ability to stop that or pause it or extend my veg. And they might even flip early if I do something wrong. So
yes,
I basically have to nail it during veg in order to get good results.
Yes. And you did say you don't have any opportunity to extend your veg. If you keep this thing in a perfect stress-free environment, you are going to get the longest veg that you can possibly get. That's how they get these, 4 or 5 foot plants, big yielding plants.
Longest extended veg that it's genetically programmed for, but I can't keep it vegging an additional 2 weeks.
No.
If I want to. It's going to flip when it wants to.
You are on a countdown timer. I just have my autos came up. 3 of these came out super strong, and then a couple of the others are stragglers. So I don't want to grow those stragglers. I got to start cranking up the light. Like I said, these have limited time to grow into this big, strong plant.
Okay, so that brings up my question. I've heard autoflowers are great for beginner growers.
No.
Okay, because I am kind of a beginner grower and they scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, no, beginner grower, take something, a Blue Dream or some kind of really bulletproof plant. You can cut it in the solo cup. I just went in and I had some solo cups that were drooping dry, and I was like, oh no, I forgot to water them. So I watered them, came back the next day, came back a few hours later, and they were fine. That kind of stress on an autoflower, you'd probably just want to throw it away and start over again.
All right, let's talk about the third maybe myth. I've heard that you can't transplant autos. You have to go straight into your finishing container with the seed. Is that true, or?
This one, there's some truth to it. This one, I'll call it a myth. I know good autoflower growers that do transplant autos, and they say that's the way that they get these large plants. These Cortez the Conqueror gets 5-foot plants, decent, really nice looking plants, and he transplant twice. The whole point is, remember we were talking about you got to keep that stress down. Mm-hmm. You have to keep that taproot, that root from hitting the bottom of the cup or your container. As soon as it does that, that's the stress, or that's the indicator that's going to make it start flowering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I've been getting advice from Cortez. I planted mine in right in the large containers, and they're doing okay. Cortez plants his in a solo cup. I think it's 3 to 5 days in a solo cup, puts it in a 1 gallon after that, and 10 to 14 days there. And then it goes in its 5 gallon. He uses a really tall finishing pot as well to extend that tap root as far as he can. I think he uses a 5 gallon container. Yeah, but the idea is, he always says, you transplant them when they're somewhat dry, inoculate them with something like Recharge or some kind of mycorrhizae, or something like mycorrhizae inoculation is really important. And never let the taproot touch anything. You're going soil on soil. When you go out of that solo cup, it's soil on soil. That's why it's a bit dry, so it doesn't fall apart. And he says it's surgery. This isn't something you're just gonna, just do. This is surgery. You take your time, you make sure you're doing it right, and there's so much opportunity to mess this up. But it can be done.
Okay, so that leads me back to kind of where we started this episode.
Sure.
It does seem like there's more risk and less rewards than just growing photo, period. So why do autos even exist, and why is there hype around them?
And not every grower is just like me. Cortez is a great grower. He grows 9 or 10 plants at a time. I think he appreciates the challenge of it, and he's good at it. Some people like to pick hard things to do. Not me. No, I'm just funning. But yeah, I do have, there's a reason why I've been growing for 30 years and just planted my first Autoflowers last week. I could go over before, I feel remiss unless I would go over a couple of the cons, a couple of the concerns I have with Autoflowers. And that first one is, I think I mentioned it earlier, each seed is a new phenotype. The producer, the seed breeder, he's working with something new every time. So you're not going to get the stability that you would get from photos. That's just my opinion. But man, the biggest thing is not being able to recover from mistakes. Now, some of these are more forgiving than others. But if you, like I said, I just messed up my solo cups as to where I forgot to water them. So I came back and I threw a little bit of water on them, and no worse for the wear. Cannabis loves to grow. But the idea that you can't make a mistake with these things kind of does bug me a little bit. I want to have people, my MO is to tell you can grow, to give you the tools you needed, and wait 90 days and you send me dank bud pictures.
And then what about cloning? Because you like to grow from clone. Can you clone from Autoflowers?
Yeah, you can. You'll just have the same damn plant with the same timeline. Meaning you don't want to clone an auto, because if an auto is 20 days old and you clone it and then you wait another 14 days, you've got a 34, 35-day old plant that is probably starting to flower already. That's in its genetics,
So it's already however many days in that you cloned it. When
Yeah.
you put the clone in, it's already got those days, and it's a brand new plant, but it's already old.
Yes, and don't forget, we talked about stress. So now you just cut the clone to stress that autoflower plant out. You probably just ruined your mother plant as well.
Okay.
I got one last thing I got to say, and it bugs me a bit about Autoflowers, is you are stuck buying seeds every single harvest. We talked about Cortez likes to plant 13 or 15 and cull 4 or 5 of them. You are stuck buying these things every time, and that makes it a lot more expensive. These Autoflower seeds, none of these seeds are cheap. When I buy a pack of seeds, I don't really buy a pack of seeds. When somebody buys a pack of seeds for a couple $100, they have a factory at that point. They can keep that. They can make 10 plants out of it, one plant, 100, 1,000, and they can also really get to know how to grow that plant. So that's my big beef with autos. So those are some reasons I'm a photo grower. There are also some reasons why I tried growing autos recently. But come on, what about y'all? Let me know. Are y'all auto growers? Did I get it right? Let me know in the comments. If you dug this video, come on, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Share this video with another grower you know. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending, because Grambo thinks you'll dig them.